seems undesirable to you. Then choose for yourself this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates or the gods of the Amorites, and whose land you are living. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. When I choose my path, it's not the path of least resistance. My own family is going to resist some of the things I do as far as being a Christian. You're going to give up some of your time for your family, some of your money for your family, and some of their pleasure. Now, Brother Doug talked about not missing their children's ball games and still being a pastor and all that. You can be a Christian and still take care of others. God will never make you neglect your family. It seems to them you're neglecting them, but the gain outweighs the loss. Now, I got 9 grandkids here today. I would about venture to say 2 of them would rather be somewhere else. They feel, oh, you're looking to see which ones look at me. They're not even sitting out here besides the babies. They feel they're being forced. There's resistance because their moms and dad chose this path. If you choose a path and people are going against it, especially your loved ones, it makes it harder to choose that path. I understand that. But it says choose this day. If you're going to serve another God, serve them. If you're going to serve the God, and you have the deciding vote in your family, and fathers, guess what? You have the deciding vote. I read a survey. Families that attend church, if the dad or the father attends church that has children, and if he stays in church, nearly 70% of the time, every member of his family will continue in church for the rest of their lives. And it gone down to just mothers and no father attending church. It went down to like 20% that will stay in church, the kids, rest of their life. If neither one attended, it drops down to 5 or 10%. So if you got children and they're resisting you bringing them to church, bring them anyways. It didn't say of their free will. Now, if you don't have control of your children, that's not godly either. If you're 11-year-old and say, Dad, I'm not going to church, I don't think God's pleased with that because you're head of the family. Anyone who chooses to do the will of God will find out whether my teaching comes from God or whether I speak on my own. And that was John talking. When you listen to a man preach, teach, or talk about God, you got to make a choice if he's telling you the truth. Has a preacher ever told you something that wasn't the truth? Yes. Has a Christian ever told me something that wasn't the truth? Yes. They're human. Then you got to decide, are they intentionally doing it or was it an error? If they do it a lot, it's not an error, it's intentional. You got to choose that path too. Now, I have the right to do anything, 1 Corinthians 10:23. You say, but not everything is beneficial. There's a lot of laws. That one in California, Brother Doug talked about the other night. Oh, wow. You have that right as an American citizen in California now. They have the right to take away, the government to take away your right of whether your child can change from one sex to the other or attempt to when they're 11-year-old. I could not follow that path. If I lived in California, my path would be to move out of California. I would be that drastic because I love my kids enough that I think I got their best welfare in my hands, not somebody else's. If I attended a church that was not feeding my soul, I'd move out of that church. If I was in a relationship, and after you're married, things are a little different because you made some vows. Boyfriend, girlfriend, family, relatives, and it wasn't good for my soul, I would choose a different path. I moved out here 1981. Ask me why. You think it was Barbara Fraser? I would have moved anyways. I took a different path, and it wasn't the path of least resistance. I had a good paying job in Chattanooga, making good money, pretty good off. But it wasn't feeding my soul, and I wasn't around who I need to be around. I changed my life. God didn't make me change my life. I chose that change, and I'm glad I did. You know why I'm glad I did? My offspring and their offspring are in this church today. And you say, Mark, you think you changed that? I'm not going to go that far. I think sometimes I make better decisions for myself that affects those who come after me. Because when I make bad decisions for me, it dwindles down to my family, my relatives, my kids and grandkids. I will be in this church every time these doors open, unless I'm sick or I can't control it. I bet you one thing, I'm not on the couch watching television, not for my sake. Do not be deceived, Galatians 6 and 7. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. What you put in the ground is what comes out of the ground. The effort you put is what you get out. The next person that tells me I'm lucky because I'm smart and I make decent money, I feel like saying, oh, you foolish man. You reap what you sow. You put it in, you get it out. I got a decent retirement, a decent Social Security check coming. They didn't say, Mark, we like you. We're going to treat you special. I had to sow that to reap it. And it's no different in God's work. You got to sow it to reap it. If you're not sowing much and you expect a lot, I don't see your reasoning. Don't get it. Whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. If all you're doing is taking care of your flesh, congratulations. 80 years from now, you're going to be done because the flesh is over with. But what you're sowing is to reap for your spirit. That's not a lifetime commitment that you're building. That's an eternal one. And eternal is worth more than 80 years on this earth. Now, I don't know who the oldest in here. I'm almost 63. I got maybe 17 years or so left on this earth. The flesh is done. That's okay. I'm not sowing much anymore for the flesh. There's not much return coming for it. Dear children, 1 John 3 and 18, let us not love with words or speech, with actions and in truth. The path of least resistance is to talk about it, to say the words. The path of the most resistance is to get up and do it. My dad promised my mom the whole time I lived at home, honey, I'm going to take you to the ocean one of these days. Never got her nowhere near it. His ocean was the Tennessee River, so we could go fishing. Her ocean was the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean. He never took her past Georgia. Now, she's gotten the gold and she's gotten older. Intentions are not very good. Well, I plan on straightening my life up. I plan on serving God. I plan on giving my soul to Jesus Christ. Congratulations. Hot air. That's all you just gave God. Now, I'm not much at saying I'm going to do something. I'm going to do it. I scare Barbara. Because if I tell her something, she believes it. Told her I was going to go to Key West. I'm not sure she believed me. We went. I told her we're going to Colorado, and I'm going up as high in the mountains as I can go. She's scared of heights. I'm going. But if I also tell her anything else, honey, I am going to do this at home. Work that needs to be done, I'll do the work too. I don't like opening my mouth if I'm not going to back it up. I didn't say if I could back it up. If I'm not going to back it up in God's word, don't open your mouth. Don't make God promises you're not planning to keep. Don't make the church promises you're not going to keep. Don't make a fellow Christian because they lose confidence in you. Do not choose the easiest path. I got one coming up a lot. I have chosen the way of faithfulness. I have set my heart on your laws. This is not man's laws. Do I follow man's laws? Do you? Do you speed? You don't follow them too good. Do I follow God's laws as close as I follow man's laws? Ooh, I don't know. I'll break the speed limit, but not by much. Barbara said, hey, yeah, right. It's funny when I go on vacation, the farther I go, the faster I drive. If I can get by 5 miles over the speed limit, soon it's 10. Let's try 12. 15 don't seem bad. Then I'll see somebody got pulled over and say, ooh, I better slow her down a little. So man's laws scare me. God's laws should scare you. Thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet. But we all do that, and we get by with it. We're okay with it because we're getting by with it. Who's going to check me? The preacher? He don't know I'm doing it. Fellow Christians, they don't know I'm doing it. God will let me slide. He's going to pull you over and give you a ticket. He's going to take your car. He's going to have you behind bars. Because when God gives you a ticket, it's not a $20 fine. John 8:32, and you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You ever walk in this church and feel like your hands are bound and tied, that you got chains around you, and that nobody knows that you're in such a bad spot that you can't even breathe, they're so tight? Do you know the truth? Are you willing to admit the truth? I don't need to tell you the truth. That comes straight through Jesus Christ, the truth for your life. Because everything that's true for your life is not true for mine. There's some things I won't dare to do, and I see some of people in this church do it. And I'm sure I do some things y'all wouldn't dare to do. And that's okay. But you will know the truth, not us, you. And you as a one individual person. The truth for me is not the exact same truth for you. I think Brother Doug was talking about that other night. Jesus said knowing the truth leads to freedom. And freedom gives you the right to choose the right path for you. Now, Riley Ty Moore, I'm not going to college. Fine. I ain't going to make a living. Well, he's changed his mind 12 times. Going to be a diesel mechanic, other things. He's named a bunch of things. It's okay not knowing what, if you don't know what you aren't going to do. But you got to know what you are going to do. You can't say no, no, no to everything. Now, if you keep saying no, no to no, you got to go down some path. And the truth is what guides you down that path. Now, there is power in knowing where you're going. Where are you going as a Christian? Which path are you choosing as a Christian? I don't know. Then you don't know the truth. Because the power is the freedom to make that choice. How much? How much are you willing to go down a hard path? Offering plate comes around. Don't you raise your hands. I don't want to know. You're going to put something in it because everybody's watching. Everybody knows you got a good job. Everybody knows you're doing all right. I heard an old saying that said George Washington goes to church more than anybody. I've heard that. Because everybody puts them $1 bills in there. Now, when the offering comes around, or in the back, or anytime you're giving it to a worthy cause, it's help somebody else. How much you put in there? That's an easy path right there, right? Is it? What about that path? That's easy. That'll buy me a meal at McDonald's if I get it off the dollar menu. That's a lie, too. There is no dollar menu anymore. Now we're talking money, God. You know I was saving that up to eat that steak when we go to Colorado. Am I willing to give that up and choose a different path and have to eat at McDonald's because I gave God or the church my $20 bill? You're hurting me, God. I'm not sure I haven't got that in my billfold. Yes, you know. If God tells you to got it in your billfold, you got it. He wants you to choose that path. If he leads you down that path and you don't take it, I don't care if you put 2 20s in. That's not a 50. You didn't choose the right path because you led yourself down the path because you chose less. You chose the path of least resistance. Now we're talking. If I told you today, if everybody in here come with a $100 bill, a soul would be saved. That's the price for a soul today. Would you say, I don't got it? I can't give it? It's not worth it. Well, what about your soul? I'm going to change that wording. God says, The only way you can be saved is I need a $100 bill. Would you give it for your soul? Well, you know what? The path for me giving it for my soul is a lot easier to go down than the path for your soul. But that is so much against what Christians are supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to think as much as your soul or more than I do my own. But we don't, because human nature. There's your two things you're not willing to give up. That's what your paths are based on. Which path I choose is how much of my time is it going to take and how much of my money is going to take. My path to church was this morning financially was easy. I could have walked across the road. Who comes the farthest? Probably Whitney now. It costs him some money to get here. Well, the human brain will tell you the path of least resistance is, let's find us a church in Cookville. Chris comes a long ways. Anybody else come a long way? Melvin, he's a lot farther than me. Well, your path's hard because who you bring with you. I got it. There's a lot of variables there. Now, I put it this way. My dad drove 72 miles for years. Why did he do it? Why? That's a 144-mile round trip. And what he done affected more than just him. There were 7 in the family. That means every Sunday morning we got up early. My dad got up early and studied his Sunday school lesson before he drove us out here. Now, I sort of thought he was crazy. How many churches did we pass? The path of least resistance, we could almost see a church from where we lived. But he never questioned that. You know why? He thought that was a path, or God convinced him, and he listened to God. That was the path I'm supposed to take, not just for me, for my family. Who do you take your path for? Just for you? But I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall also reap bountifully. For every man according as his purpose in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or out of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. If you're going to put a $100 bill in there and complain about it, tear it up and throw it in the garbage. God can't bless it. He can't bless the person you give it to, and he can't bless you for giving it. If you're going to give $1 and you're cheerful about it, he's better off. Because you know what? If you're giving to me out of pity or because you feel you have to, I don't want your help. I don't want your money. If you feel like you're obligated to give or help me, I don't want you to even think about me. Now, if you want to do it because you love and care about me, thank you. I appreciate it. Or if you're going to remind me later what you gave me. Remember I gave you $100? You owe me. You didn't give me nothing if you owe me. We're trading out. You know what God gave us? His Son, Jesus Christ, on the cross. And he has never said, Mark, you owe me. I gave to you because he gave me his Son freely. He never questioned whether or not I was going to return a favor. He never said I had to. He said he would have gave Jesus Christ if only one person, out of all the multitudes ever been born on earth, ever considered Jesus. So what did he give me? He didn't give me $100 or $1,000. He gave me the most precious thing. He didn't choose the path of least resistance. He chose the hardest path he got. God chose the hardest path. He gave up the most precious thing he got. Jesus Christ chose the hardest path. He lived in a world sinless for somebody who didn't deserve it. So when they chose their path, they didn't consider themselves or tried to fool anybody. They done exactly what they said. Now, why did I say fool anybody? We like to fool people. Everything that glitters is not gold. I want to read this. We compromise. Revelation 3:16. Why do we compromise? So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither hot or nor cold, I will spew, which means spit, vomit thee out of my mouth. This is God talking. Did God say take the stairs? Did he? That's a metaphor. Did God say take the stairs? Well, God has an elevator there. elevator's easier. I'm going to get to the same spot. God said, take the stairs. Okay, God. Wink, wink. I'll take the stairs. You took the escalator. Looks like a stairs. Makes you feel like you're on the stairs. But you got to give very little effort to get up those stairs. And in your mind, you've done exactly what God told you to. How many of us are taking the escalator? When God tells us to go down one path that we don't like, we adjust the path. We don't adjust our lives. We adjust the path. Now, myself, I've changed my attitude personally. A lot of times I skip elevators and I do take stairs now because it's better exercise. Now, if there was 20 flights of stairs, that's a no-no because I'm going to be dead tired to get to the top, huffing and puffing. But if it's just 1 or 2 flights of stairs, like at the courthouse, administrative building, what you want to call it, there's 1 or 2 flights of stairs and an elevator. I go up those stairs now. And you know the benefit I get from doing that? My heart's in better shape. Went to the doctor for blood pressure, 106/70. Proud of that. Cholesterol levels are excellent. You know what it was 2 years ago? I registered at 164 over something. Cholesterol still wasn't real bad. And all I changed was one little stinking thing. Started taking a few stairs. I ate a little less too. It's amazing. If you get a little closer to the path that you're supposed to be on, sooner or later getting on that harder path gets easier. But we get farther away from that hard path because if we do get it easy, if you take the escalator, you know where you're going to be soon? You're going to be on the elevator. You're going to go the opposite. If you're willing to go the opposite way just a little bit from God's will, you're willing to go a long ways from God's will. If you're willing to get a little closer to God's will, and you see that it's better for you, your life spiritually and physically, you'll start getting even closer. Can you pray too much? Can you give God too much? You ever gotten poor by giving God money? You ever lost spiritual doubt because you prayed? No. So you can't give too much. We do not choose, now read this closely, we do not choose to not serve God. Read that again. We do not choose to not serve God. We do not choose to completely serve God. We don't say, God, I'm not going to do anything. But we do say, God, I think I'll do as little as I can get by with. You ever been a supervisor on any kind of job? I don't care what it is. I don't care working in a lumber mill, making gold bars. There's always some employees that will do their job and do just enough that you can't say they need to do more. There's always some do as little as they can get by with, and there's some that will do extra. In God's kingdom, there's only one kind. It's the ones who will do extra. Here am I, Lord. Send me. Don't say where he's sending you. Just be willing to go. It don't matter which path he's going to send you down. Here am I, God. Send me. Now, I like to say I've always took the stairs in God's work because he said take the stairs. Now, I tell you what I think he does. And this isn't biblical. Sort of is, but this is me talking. When you become a new Christian, God puts you on the elevator. He makes your life pretty easy. But sooner or later, he's going to bring you down to at least an escalator. And if you stay a Christian for a long time, I promise you, you're going to climb a lot of stairs along the way. He is going to try your soul. He's going to make you prove you are who you are to yourself, to others, to him. Your life is not going to be completely easy, but I will go the opposite direction. God has never made you climb the stairs so much that you had a heart attack either in his service. Anybody ever worked so hard it killed you for God? No, you're sitting here. You ever felt like it? I'll tell you when one long day is, when we do this 4th of July thing. If you come down here and work from 6, 7 o'clock to late at night, you're exhausted. But if I offered you $5,000 to turn around and repeat the same thing, would you do it? Personally, you would. You still got it in you. He didn't take all of it. Now, is it wrong to choose the easy path? Is it? Human standpoint, the easy path is the only path. You don't believe me. I drive a car. Why? I don't like to walk a long ways. That's the easy path. I will say this. If I'm going on a long trip, I take the blue car. Better gas mileage. It's easier on me personally, physically. It's easier on me financially. And it's easier on me physically because my truck has some springs sticking through the seat. And that is uncomfortable after a while. Y'all can laugh. It's not wrong to choose the easiest path as long as it does not affect you spiritually or make somebody else's life harder. Now, I'm terrible. When cars are merging two into one lane, two lanes into one lane, I think you should take turns. When somebody tries to jump in front of me, I get angry. I do. The easiest path, just take turns. The harder path, me had to wait longer. I shouldn't get angry. I should expect that. I should be prayed up and ready to understand life's going to happen. But I don't like to understand life's going to happen because it's affecting me. Now, I don't know what time it is, but they're not there yet. Let's go on. Let me read that. All right. Now, nature and human nature. Take the easy way. Is the easy way always God's will? Absolutely not. Look at that little creek or river. What's it doing? You think the water's moving? I know it's moving. You know how I know it's moving? It cut a path through there. Still water don't cut a path. It stays in one spot. Never moves. Now, yeah, okay. I also noticed something else about that little creek or river, stream we'll call it. It's got a design to it. It's sort of crooked, isn't it? Wonder why. Nature teaches us that water will flow in the path that's easiest to flow. Water never flows uphill. Water will always take the path. There's nothing trying to stop it or less trying to stop it. In nature, and we're natural, my body's natural. Honey, get me a drink. Fix me a Coke. That's a lot easier than me getting off the couch and doing it. And honey says, get your own Coke. So I got to choose a different path. Right? I got another path I can take, but I'll always take the easy path if I can. Because I'm watching that important football game and don't want to miss one play. So I do choose a different path. I'll wait till my commercial comes on. But still, I chose a different path, and that ain't hardly as easy. The physical path is not an easy way. I don't want a hard job that's physical to work. I want a sit-down job. Anybody with me? Anybody want to go outside and bale some hay today? I mean, it's 90. Would you either have a machine that does it for you? Yeah, me too. Or somebody else that can do it for me. Mental. I don't want a hard mental path. Whether you believe it or not, if you're worrying about life because your path's hard mentally, that means you're worrying about everybody. You're taking one of the hardest paths known to man because mentally is where the world attacks you anymore. We're not having hard physical paths as humans anymore. In the United States, there's not a lot of people who really work hard anymore to get through life. But mentally, there's so much stress on us, it's not a good path. Spiritually, human nature says, I don't want a hard spiritual path. There's three parts to a person, a human. Physical, mental, spiritual. Your physical will break down first. If you work very hard, you get tired within 8-10 hours. I don't care who you are. If a man tells you I never get tired, you say that, tell that man you never work. Because you're going to get tired. Mentally, you can only take so much, and you just shut down. You'll break down and cry. You'll lay down and go to bed and go to sleep and get depressed. A lot of people sleep a lot because they're mentally going down a hard path. I know when I get out of this bed, it's going to be hard. So I just stay in the bed. I can't deal with it. Spiritually, why is your spiritual path hard? Because we choose to take the easy. And that's the opposite of the other two. The other one, if you take a physically easy, it's easier. If you take a mental easier, it's easier. But if you choose the easiest path spiritually, you're actually creating a harder path. What? Yes. Because a true spiritual path is you're not doing the guiding, you're not doing the leading. All you're doing is doing what you're told, and God will never give you more than you can handle. God will never put you on a path that's going to destroy you. God will always make sure He provides. The children of Egypt starving in the desert. They're all talking to Moses, you chose the hard path. If this was spiritual, we wouldn't be starving. And Moses basically said, God told me to tell y'all to shut up. He's tired of hearing you complain. It's going to rain down bread from heaven. And they didn't even believe him until he got hit in the head with a big dough ball. Boom. And then another dough ball. And the ground turned white. And they were spiritually fed, not just physically, for one day. And by the next day, they're complaining again. But you know what? I have never seen the righteous forsaken or his children begging for bread. If you are spiritual in your walk, if your path gets hard, it's still better than it being easy. Ooh, the path of least resistance is what makes rivers run crooked. A straight river didn't have any resistance, and it went straight on through. There is going to be some least resistance and hard resistant places in your life. You have two choices. What will water do to a solid rock if it's too much resistance and it keeps hitting it? I don't care how tough the rock is, what it's made of. The water will carve that rock out of the way little by little by little till it gets a straight path. Now, where we're going in Colorado, there's some places like that. The Arkansas River runs through a gorge, and it goes straight through there. It carved through hundreds of feet, layers of rock. You think that river had an easy time carving through that rock? You think it had patience, determinations, and kept on? Our problem is we quit as soon as it gets hard. New Christians, the first time God lets the devil hit you right smack in the nose, you're going to say, this is too hard. I can't take getting punched in the nose like that. I used to play a little sports. I loved football. First time we played at the beginning of a new year, your body felt like it's beat the snot out of it. You got hit a few times. You hurt. Your body was bruises. After about a week of that, your body adjusted, and those blows didn't affect your body anymore. But you know what happened after you quit playing for a little while? It all started over again. Every time somebody tackled you and hit you hard, you could feel it the next day and the day after. God needs some tougher Christians. We get hit, we stop, and we play a little again, get hit again. It's always going to hurt to stop and start. If you continue down that same path, even if it's hard, it gets easier. Go back to the steps. If you walked up 10 flights of steps every day for 2 months, would it get easier? One thing about getting older and being a Christian for a long time, thank God, I finally figured this out. After a time, God helps make that hard path easier. Instead of looking for a different path, He has made my path. It's the same path I started on. But as I've gone down it so many times, I have found out it's gotten easier. Well, Mark, it ain't never going to get easier. I struggle. Yeah, but just like climbing those stairs, first time's hard, second week's hard, third week, not as bad. But when you quit and had to start back a dozen times, every time you start back, you got to adjust again. Because the Satan's got you. Because now he's going to throw this into your mind. You keep quitting. You know this path's too hard. You know what I tell Satan? Never quit. I've never quit. The path's not too hard. And then one more thing. Henry Thoreau added another sentence on here. The path of least resistance leads to crooked rivers and crooked men. Whew. Where did I start on that one? how do I say this without being real offensive? I'll be offensive. You've done it before, Mark. They get over it. If you want everything in your life easy and you're willing to look for the easy path, you're willing to break the rules. You are. And you don't care what it costs anybody else. If all you want is life to be easy for you because you think you deserve it, you're saying other people who have worked hard don't deserve it. God would be a liar if he said that everybody who's not doing what they should be blessed to have it like people who work hard for him. Now, you say, well, Mark, he does not, what's the word? He has no favoritism towards a person. I disagree with you. This is my son. Finish it. In who I am well pleased. He had a man on earth he showed favoritism to because he never sinned. And he kept the course and kept the path his whole life. Never got off that path. Why would he not show him favoritism? Just like your boss will show your favoritism if you're a good employee. Now, here's the problem. I don't want to go through the narrow gate, Mark. It's hard to find, hard to fit through. There's a place at Lookout Mountain, Rock City, called Fat Man Squeeze. If that's politically incorrect, that's what they call it. They may have changed it by now, and I've not been there in a long time. If you're big, you can get through there. But I watch a lot of big people walk up to it and go, oh, no, I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't know if I can get through there. You can get through there. Somebody who's skinny just runs through there and turns around, pokes fun at the big person. And you know what? It is easier for somebody to go through a small, narrow place than it is some people that are bigger. Enter you into the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. If it's easy, it's not going to get you anywhere. And many there be which go in thereat. But straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. It's amazed how few in life really find Jesus Christ and find him in all of his glory. I'm not amazed how many people believe in Jesus Christ. Everybody will tell you, I believe in Jesus Christ, the Son of God, died for me. But I'm really saddened at the number of people who believe it enough that they put it into practice. If you believed in Jesus Christ and you were saved, and you really felt the love of Jesus Christ in you, what can you replace it with? I've not seen anything in the world that I've ever been offered that could replace what Jesus Christ feels like in my life. I've never had the love of a woman. I've never had a bank account. I've never had prestige that would replace that, because those go away just after a few moments. Jesus Christ has been the same and filled that up forever. We're going to finish this. So what is the right way? What is the right path? We're going to finish this. No, we're not. Here we are. Let's go to the last. What path did Jesus Christ take? Well, physically, he went up the Mount of Golgotha. There's a picture of it. You think it was an easy physical climb? He was beaten, carrying a cross, half dead already, being tortured, and he still got up that mountain. So when you complain to me your life's too hard, that you can't follow God and his plan for you, I'm going to say, malarkey, I don't believe you. Jesus Christ as a man done it, and he was much worse shape physically than you was. Spiritually, he was tortured mentally also. Let's go on. So if you take the right path for Jesus Christ, it's not the path of least resistance. You know where you're going to end up? Your path's going to be a streak to go. If you choose the right path on earth, you're going to be walking on bricks of gold. I think I'm going to like that. And I don't know about you. I've never seen much gold in my life. Barbara's wedding ring has a little bit of gold in it. It's so mute. I will reach down to a piece off and have more than he got there. Now, why do sailboats have two sails? A good sailboat has two sails. There's a reason. God's the big one. You're the little one. But why do you need two sails? I don't know if you can read that or not. It don't matter which direction the wind is blowing. It don't matter. You can sail if you adjust your little sail. I did this for a fact. Big sail sticking out over here. Little sail's me. Sometimes I got to be over here. sometimes like this. God will change situations around you. But his wind's always blowing to that big sail. He is the wind. Now, there's only one time you can't move your sailboat, and that's that little block right there, when you're sailing directly into the wind. When you're going directly against God's will, he cannot move you. He cannot help you. You're dead in the water. But as long as you're trying, as long as you're going sort of, he will adjust and let you adjust your sail, but he'll always keep putting wind in his sail. Always. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's why you had two sails, and I never could figure out how you can sail a boat unless you go in the direction the wind's going. Now, it only stops going when you're going against the wind. Now, I'm going to say something here. In Genesis 2:7, I'm almost finished. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. If I breathe into your nostrils, I make the air move. I create a wind of air going into you. So God is the wind. But guess what I am? That same breath and what put the wind in my sails is that same breath that gave me life. He's always breathing life into me. If I will learn to adjust my sails as he adjusts his, I can always go forward. Thank you.